Now guys, just a quick update. I've got all the injectors back in, all the injector pipes back on. The only thing I will warn you about if you have to do this job is you have to tighten these ones on the top of the pump from the front backwards, because there's not actually room for to get a spanner in them at all. It's just a case of put the first one on, tighten it as tight as you can, second one on, tighten it, third one on, fourth one, and so forth. The top's no problem, but my goodness, that takes a bit of getting into. I managed to get the engine turning over no problem at all. It took, well, it's no problem. It took the starter to actually get it going. I couldn't turn it by hand, but eventually we got it freed. Next thing is, it just won't bloody start. And the first thing that happened was, this is a switch off solenoid, and this was actually seized. So I've freed all the solenoid. Still won't start. Pulled it all together, pulled it apart a couple of times. The solenoid sits into the back of the injection pump. Now, I've been in touch with Beta Marine, and the lovely guy on there told me that I have to remove the actual injector pump itself. He says sometimes just placing it overnight in clean fuel can free it off, but if there's any springs broke or anything, then I have to replace the springs and clean it all out in the inside. Now to do that, I have to remove all these brackets, the air intake, take the injector pipes off fully. So that's going to be my job for today. I'm going to be stripping this injector pump out. I think it's going to be a boring job. There's not going to be really a lot to it, just a lot of undoing bolts. So unless there's something really exciting happens, I probably won't video much of that. Well guys, as you can see, so far it's all been pretty straightforward. Just to remove the air intake from here, and that lets you get into the top of the pump quite well. There's only 6 fasteners with a hex head, so it's just a case of undoing them 6. I'm not sure whether I have to take the speed controller off first before I take the pump out, but I wouldn't think so. I'm going to try taking out them 6 screws first and see if it lifts off, and I'll let you know how we go. Got the pump out, lift pump out from here. All the controls are actually working as they should do, so there's no problem in this part. But the actual pump itself, number 1 valve, actually let's see, I've got it turned the other way out. Number 1 cylinder and number 2. Number 1 is a little bit tight, and number 2 is actually seized. These are the on-off controls. As you can see, that's just a bit tight. Normally they float button forward, and this one here is absolutely solid, and the spring is stuck right up in here. So basically I've got to free all this off. I've sprayed it all with, I soaked it all overnight in fresh diesel. Now I'm spraying it with WD-40 and see if I can get that to loosen off. I'll let you know how it's going. Oh well, it seems that Beta Marine Kubota engines are out to get me. They just don't like me at all. Basically, they don't like being left standing, not running for a long time. This has been nothing but problems for me. I've freed off the top. The cylinders had picked up on the pistons and seized. I've freed all that with WD-40 and through the injectors. Built it all back together again. Would start again. Anyway, to cut a long story short, we had then problems with the pump, freed off the pump, got all that working again, started no problem, started, ran, and then all of a sudden it started overheating very quickly. A charge light not going out, oil light not going out, oil pressure gauge showing 0 pressure. Right. So we've changed the oil again, took the oil pressure gauge off, cleaned it, can't do anything with it, we can't get new ones here, and Beta Marine can't send anything to Portugal because of your beautiful Brexit and problems with the customs. So you can't get a new, well, I have to find a tractor dealer and to take my engine numbers and try and get a new oil pressure gauge. I've took the calorifier out, or the heat exchanger. This end here I just can't get out at all, but I managed to take it out from the back. I've got that now sitting, taking all the corrosion out of the inside of that. Hopefully that will sort the problem with the overheating. I also have tons of black smoke coming out of the engine, and lots of carbon sitting on top of the water. So obviously it's got an unburnt diesel and unburnt fuel problem. So when I find a place that can do me the oil sender gauge, I'm going to buy new injectors, because I think perhaps the injectors has decided that they don't like playing neither. So I'm going to try changing the injectors. What I was hoping to do was run it for a little while and see if the black cleared itself, but with it showing up as no oil pressure and the water overheating, I can't even run it for any length of time to see if it clears. So I might just do that. I'll try and get it so that I can run it for a little while and see if it'll clear the injector itself, or it is possible it's even a valve, not a valve, but piston rings sticking. If it's a piston ring sticking, then they would eventually clear themselves as well, I believe, because it's the engine's got very few hours on it. Anyway, that's us for just now. I'm just waiting on you to come back with some chemicals to clear out the heat exchanger. No, all the pipes are all clogged in that. So we'll put it all back together again once I get that done, and we'll see how it goes. Talk to you later.